dear students. In this video, we will continue the chapter number 1 in Civics, that is the Introduction to the Parliamentary System. In the previous video, we saw the branches of government system which are included legislative, executive and judiciary. We also saw the structure and characteristics of parliamentary system of government. In this video, we will continue that lesson with the point responsible system of government under the parliamentary system. Responsible system of government. The parliamentary system is known as a responsible system of government. How? See, the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers, they are responsible to the legislature for all their actions and policies. The Council of Ministers formulates their policies, their programs with a view to resolving the issues before the country or the different problems in front of our country. And they have explained their policies, their actions in front of the parliament. Means they have to discuss their different policies, their actions with the legislature. And that means the Council of Ministers, they has work with the legislature. The Council of Ministers has to work with the legislature. And it is for this reason that the parliamentary system is known as the responsible system of government. We can also see that the member of legislature can ask any question or discuss any matter regarding public interest or regarding the action and policies of Council of Ministers. And Council of Ministers are answerable to that. The Council of Ministers, they are answerable to the Lok Sabha or they are answerable to the member of legislature regarding their policies and their actions. So, like that way, the parliament can check the activities of the executive or they can also control on the executives. The next point is collective responsibility. One more characteristics of Indian parliamentary system of government is collective responsibility. Means work togetherly. How? See, the collective responsibility of ministers to the parliament takes different forms. But the first and foremost, it signifies that the government remains in office only so long as it retained the confidence of the parliament. Means government enjoy the power till the support of the parliament. And all the ministers stand or they fall together with that government. The ministers must support the government policies, but they must also resign if they defeated in the parliament on the matter of confidence. Means if the no confidence motion against the government were passed in parliament, so it should be responsible for entire council of ministry and they all should give their resignation. Here the collective responsibility implies that the ministers are bound by the decision of the cabinet even when they had no part in their decision or discussion. Means that decision taken by any ministers or any department is considered as a decision of entire government. And that's why the entire council of ministers are responsible for that decision and they should give the resignation. And here the resignation of Prime Minister is considered as a resignation of entire Council of Ministers. So this concept is known as collective responsibility. This is one of the distinct characteristics of Indian parliamentary system. No confidence motion. Previously we saw that If the legislature is not satisfied with the work of government or work of executive, so they have a right to pass no confidence motion against the government to control the government. But what is the meaning of no confidence motion? Let us see. In the parliamentary system, the executive is dependent upon the confidence of the legislature in them. This means that the Council of Ministers remain in power till it enjoy the support or the confidence of the legislature. And if the legislature feels that the executive does not work in accordance to its wishes or accordance to the rule, so it removes the executive from the power by passing a no confidence motion against the executive. Let us see what is the procedure of no confidence motion or how that procedure is going on. No confidence motion means if one or more members of the parliament they have lost the confidence in the appointed government. The motion of no confidence can only be moved by a Lok Sabha member. Means the Lok Sabha members only have the right to pass the no confidence motion against the government. Now, this is done when any member feels that the governing party has lost the support of the majority and this motion need to be supported by at least 50 member of parliaments to be accepted by the speaker. It means that if at least 50 members of the parliament they were in favor of the motion, so then only the speaker have to accept this motion. Now the speaker has to receive a written notice by the member of parliament about moving this motion. A date is scheduled for the vote and which needs to be within a 10 days after the notice has been received. During the day of vote, the appointed government has to be prove their majority. And if they are failed to prove their majority, then the government has to resign. Means the Prime Minister has to resign. And if the Prime Minister resign, definitely the entire Council of Ministers should also be resigned. Now, as of today, a total of 26 no confidence motions have been moved in the Lok Sabha since independence. And the latest example is Narendra Modi government's example. A motion of no confidence against Mr. Narendra Modi's government was expectedly defeated in the Lok Sabha on 20th July 2018. But the government obtained two-thirds majority of the vote with their sides, and that's why they carried forward their government. But the no confidence motion is an effective tool of keeping check over the executive or to keep control on the government. Parliament is a supreme body. See, in the parliamentary form of government like in our India, the legislature is a supreme institution. Means Parliament is considered as a supreme body in our government system. But how? See, the elected representatives of people express the demands and aspiration of common people in the parliament. Means our representatives which we are elected them, they presented our demands, our problems in front of the government or parliament. And the parliament decides upon the issues of public welfare. So, parliament is a house of representatives, means the people who are selected the representatives, they are the member of parliament means they are representing the peoples or representing the citizens. Beside that, Parliament also having a right to control the government or to control the executive. And that is the reason Parliament is considered as a supreme body. Till now, we saw the structure and characteristics of parliamentary system of government in India. But do you know why did India adopt a parliamentary system of government? Let us see. India adopted the parliamentary system of government for several reasons. First is that the development of parliamentary institutions started during the British rule in India, and the British rulers governed in accordance with this system. Now, this parliamentary system originally belongs to England, and when the Britishers ruled in India, that time they applied this system in India. So, the Indians were familiar to this system of government. The second reason is that this type of government means the parliamentary form of government that functioned in India before the independence, means before 1947, which was very much similar to the British model of parliamentary government. Now, the framers of the constitution were greatly influenced by the English system, and therefore the member of the Constitution Assembly decided to adopt this form of government for our independence India. So the framers of the Constitution made few changes in the parliamentary system to suit the Indian situation. And now the third and the last point is discussion and deliberation are the integral part of our parliamentary form of government. Deliberation means a long and careful discussion. So here the questions related to the public welfare are discussed in the legislature. Members from the opposition party, they can also take a part in this discussion. The opposition parties may support the government wherever the appropriate point out shortcoming in the policies and the laws put up studied arguments. So this help us to make a proper law. So these are some of the reasons that India adopt a parliamentary system of government. There are two forms of government under the democracy: parliamentary system of government and the presidential system of government. Now earlier we saw the parliamentary system of government. Let us discuss about the presidential system of government. The second important type of government under the democratic part is presidential system of government. So this type of system exists in countries such as United States of America. Now this presidential system is different from the parliamentary form. And in this system, president is the head of the executive and he also the head of the state. Means president is the head of the executive as well as the head of the state. And that president is directly elected by the people. So such a system is known as presidential system of government. Now in this system there are three branches similar like parliamentary system: executive, legislative and judiciary. But here in this system all that three branches means legislative, executive and judiciary, they are constitutionally independent of each other. Means no branch can depend on each other. All are independent and no branch can dismiss or dissolve any other. Here the head of the government and the head of the state are one and the same. It means the president. And a key feature is that the executive is not responsible to the legislature, which are having in parliamentary system. So in parliamentary system, executive is depend upon the confidence of the parliament. But here, the executive is not responsible to the legislature. Let us see some of the important features of presidential system of government. First point is, in the presidential form of government, the legislative and the executive, they are not directly depend on each other. Means the legislature and executive, they both are work independently. And the house of the legislature and the president, they are directly elected by the people. We can see that chart on our slide also. The house of the legislature and the president, they both are directly elected by the people. Here the president is the executive head and has a lot of powers, including the powers to implement the law. And president has a power to pardon or to commute judicial sentences awarded to criminals. Now the second feature is, the president has a fixed tenure and cannot be removed by a vote of no confidence in the legislature, which we saw earlier in parliamentary system. See, in the parliamentary government system, legislature have a power by passing a no confidence motion against the executive. And if the government failed to prove their confidence, so the government has to resign. But here, in the presidential form of government, in this type, the government is stable and the term of the president is fixed. There is no danger of the sudden fall of the government. Means there is no political pressure also on the president to take a decision. So here the president enjoying the power till completing their tenure. Now the third feature is, in the presidential system, the legislature and the executive, they keep a check on each other. Means they are work with a mutual cooperation. And this mutual control over each other can lead to a responsible government. So these are some of the features of presidential system of government. Let us see the difference between parliamentary and presidential form of government. In the parliamentary system, there is a joining of powers and the executive branch members are also the legislative branch members. But here in the presidential system, there is a separation of power and a clear separation between the executive and legislative branch we can see. In the parliamentary system, parliaments elect the head of the government, means the prime minister, and head can be voted out by the parliament. But here in the presidential system, the government's executive is separate from the Congress and the president is directly selected by the people. In the parliamentary system, political parties are strong. The opposition party is important to control the government. But here in the presidential system, political parties have less of role in the government. So here are some of the differences between the parliamentary and presidential form of government. Now come to the conclusion of the lesson. Apart from the parliamentary and presidential system of government, there are some other form of government systems which are followed in the countries like France, Switzerland, Germany, etc. Several countries having their unique circumstances which evolve a different system of government. Let us do one activity. First question, fill in the blanks. In the presidential system, dash is the executive head. Yes, president is the executive head. Second question, in the parliamentary form of government, dash is the supreme institution. Yes, the legislature is the supreme institution. Now the next question is, write any two differences between the parliamentary and presidential form of government, which we saw in the previous slide. I will tell. You just check. If you know the answer, you just check it. First point is, in the parliamentary form of government, head of the government is Prime Minister. And in the presidential form of government, head of the government is President. In the parliamentary form of government, Prime Minister directly selected by the representatives of the people, means the legislature. And in the presidential form of government, President is directly elected by the people, means people or citizen of the country. If you know more than it, so well done. Thank you. Students, in this chapter, we gave the information beyond the textbook for the purpose of giving extra knowledge to you and clear some basic concept. But for the exam point of view, you have to study or you have to refer the textbook only. Thank you.